Back to the daily grind. The channel's getting false flagged by triggered trolls, so make sure you subscribe to the new channel. Let's get to the MMA news. With UFC 217 coming up, UFC's return to Madison Square Garden. They always stack the Madison Square Garden cards because it was such a huge event. The fact that they were breaking into the New York market, the fact that they were able to fight in Madison Square Garden. They stacked the cards so high last year. Their first fight in Madison Square Garden, man, that's where Conor McGregor fought Eddie Alvarez to become the champ. They had Tyron Woodley defending his belt versus Stephen Wonderboy Thompson on that card, as well as Jon Jones Greedy versus Carolina Kowalkiewicz, and then the rest of the card was just stacked as well, man. So they're stacking this year. They're doing the same thing. Madison Square Garden, the UFC is stacking the cards, and with Jon Jones being from New York, a lot of people, you know, since he didn't get injured in his fight versus Daniel Cormier, and it's looking like the Brock Lesnar fight's not going to happen for some time. He will have time, most likely, to fight one time before then. People are starting to question Jon Jones about, hey, you know, you're from New York. Do you want to fight in New York? Madison Square Garden's coming up. You're not injured. Are you down? And it's looking like Jon Jones is refusing to fight in New York as of right now. He said their 9% tax, their 9% taxes on fighter purses is just too much for him. He's saying it doesn't matter where I fight. It could be Las Vegas. It could be New Mexico. I mean, any of the bigger spots. He didn't say New Mexico per se, but he's saying anywhere I fight, people are going to tune in from all over the world. You know what I'm saying? It's not whether it doesn't matter where he fights. It's going to be on pay-per-view. So it's going to be a huge event no matter where he fights. So if he fights in Las Vegas, it's better for him because they're not taxing him 9% of his purse. He'd rather fight there and be comfortable. But now this is the thing, though. You have to think, man. Well, first of all, you got to think, damn, how much money did they make from UFC 205? Ooh, Conor McGregor on the card. Ooh, that, man, how much money did they make there? That New York must have, hey, they probably love MMA now. I'm just saying, in my head, that's crazy. For Jon Jones to be refusing to fight in his hometown because of the 9% purse, and then to think how big last year's card was, whoo. I mean, there's two sides to that, though, because I mean, some people are going to say Jon Jones is greedy for this, just for the simple fact that your hometown, you know, you want to fight in your hometown maybe once, and your only reason is because, you know, you're not getting like 9% of your purse. I mean, people like Conor McGregor, Tyron Woodley, Jon Jones Greedy, I mean, these other champions have fought in New York with that 9% tax, and they're not from there. You know, they didn't have the hometown significance. So for you to, you know, you would think, you know, some people are going to say you'd want to fight in your hometown. Now, you know, just one time, you know, where you grew up, and this is what Jon Jones had to say. Looking at it from a business standpoint, it's not really a good idea to pay 9% to the state, New York, off the top just for fighting here. With 9% of every $1 million, that will add up real quick. I realize people from all over the world are going to watch it, whether it's in Vegas or Canada or wherever. It would have been great to be the first person to fight at Madison Square Garden, but now that it's happening and everything, I want to do it eventually, but it's not something that's a dream the way it used to be. So, was his dream to be the first person to fight at Madison Square Garden? Okay. No, I mean, he didn't say that was his dream. He said it would have been great to be the first person. So, I mean, maybe that's what convinced Conor and those other people. You know, it's great to be on the first card because that's history. But now he's saying it's not as cool, which is still, I mean, just to be from there. I mean, I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, I'll see what you guys have to say in the comments. I honestly don't care where Jon Jones fights because I'm not going to be watching. I'm not from New York, so it's not like I want Jon Jones to come home and me see him in our home. I mean, people from New York probably aren't going to be too happy with this, but they're going to be watching him on pay-per-view. You can believe that. That's still Jon Jones, man. Wherever he fights, like he said, people are going to tune in. I mean, whether he fights in Vegas, whether he fights in California, whether he fights in Canada, people are going to tune in. So that's Jon Jones is global. So, I mean, he has a good point, but some people, especially people from New York, are going to be upset with this and probably call him greedy, you know, some disgruntled fans, because you're turning down coming and fighting at home for a percentage of your money. I mean, you're still making more money than probably, even if he pays 9% of his purse, he's still going to be making more money than everyone on the card, even though with or without the 9%, that's the case. So, I mean, it's interesting. I definitely see people agreeing with this and disagreeing with it. I'm honestly indifferent on it. I mean, I would like to see Jon Jones fighting at home. I didn't think about that as his homecoming. You know, it'd be cool. And UFC 217. I mean, when is he gonna fight? I mean, somebody said in the comments he fights 2 times a year. That's usually his schedule. So I mean, he's only fought one time this year. That would have been dope. I mean, maybe some, I don't know, maybe the UFC, I don't know if they could do some type of deal where they're like, all right, Jon Jones, you know, just because we want you in New York, we'll give you throw you a little extra, you know, discretionary bonus or something, you know, to cover some of the taxes. I don't know. I'm sure they could get a deal done. He said he might fight there in the future, but we don't look forward to him. Pretty much, long story short, don't look forward to seeing Jon Jones at UFC 217. So that's all good. We just saw him, and that fight's gonna last for a while. He knocked out Daniel Cormier. I mean, shit, that's pretty tremendous right there. It would have been nice to see him at UFC 217, but it's not gonna happen. And man, I'm just gonna talk about this on this video because I really don't want to do a whole separate video on this because it's a WWE topic. It's looking like Jon Jones might be making an appearance in the WWE. Jim Ross came out and said he thinks Jon Jones and Brock Lesnar might be fighting in the WWE rather than in the UFC. And with the USADA stuff, that might make more sense. And I mean, that would be a big disappointment to me because I don't plan on watching Jon Jones versus Brock Lesnar in the WWE regardless if it's Jon Jones or not. I mean, it might be cool to see Jon Jones get F5 one time, but I want to see that in the octagon. It probably wouldn't happen in the octagon. I know, but shut up. Don't kill the dream, fucking Debbie Downer. So it's looking like, and then Jon Jones replied to a fan on Twitter. They asked him, have you thought about going to WWE, you know, SummerSlam and making an appearance and saying something to Brock Lesnar? And he said, I thought about it. So for him to have thought about it, it must, I mean, I don't think he was just sitting around one day thinking, I want it'd be pretty cool to show up at WWE. I'm sure he, you know, maybe with this Brock Lesnar stuff going on, maybe, man, I don't know, maybe he's been, had talks with the WWE. It might happen. I wouldn't be surprised. Ronda Rousey's going to the WWE really soon. They're talking about, I've been seeing articles. I'm not really reporting on that stuff because I'm not too interested in them going to the WWE. I'm not going to be watching it, so I don't really care. But, I mean, I'm happy for them that they're getting that opportunity and making the money and going to WWE. But it would be a little corny to me if Jon Jones and Brock Lesnar were doing all of that angling for a damn WWE fight and not a UFC fight. If it's a UFC fight, that's cool. But I don't know. That would be weird. Like he even after he just knocked out Daniel Cormier and he was crying for you to like Brock Lesnar, something. Like damn, that would be fucked up. If you're angling for that WWE fight right after this dude's over here concussed and shit. Brock Lesnar. What did he say to Brock Lesnar? Some shit. And Brock Lesnar said, be careful what you wish for. So, I mean, if they do go to if there's just like a clip of it, I'll watch that shit. I'll watch a clip of Brock Lesnar F5 and Jon Jones. Definitely won't be watching the whole SummerSlam. But I hope Brock Lesnar comes back to the MMA if possible, just because it'd be a spectacle. I know a lot of people that I know that aren't as hardcore into MMA as me would like to see Brock Lesnar back. The microwave. But it is what it is, man. I've said what I had to say on this video. Jones refuses to fight in New York. Do not looking forward to seeing Jon Jones at UFC 217. Fuck it. Let the haters know what the fuck you tell me in the comments, dude. My sister asked me to take off her clothes, so I took off her shirt. Then she said take off my skirt too, so I took off her skirt. She said now take off my shoes. So I took off her shoes. She said, now take off my bra and my panties. So reluctantly, I took them off too. Then she looked me in my eyes and said, I don't ever want to catch you wearing my things ever again.